The human mind possesses an extraordinary capacity that most people never fully realize: the ability to transform any problem, no matter how insurmountable it may seem, into a miracle of divine proportions. This is not mere wishful thinking or positive psychology dressed in spiritual garments. This is an ancient truth, a cosmic law that operates with mathematical precision in the universe, waiting only for our conscious cooperation to manifest its wonders in our lives. Before we begin, if you enjoy this video, give me a like, comment below about your thought and hit subscribe button so you don't miss any video inspired by Yogananda's teaching. Thank you very much. When we encounter difficulties, our first instinct is to recoil, to contract, to see ourselves as victims of circumstance. We build mental walls around our problems, examining them from every angle, discussing them endlessly with others, and in doing so, we inadvertently give them more power, more substance, more reality than they deserve. The problem grows in our consciousness until it becomes a mountain that blocks out the sun of our inner peace. But what if I told you that this very problem, this obstacle that seems so solid and immovable, is actually nothing more than a thought form, a temporary crystallization of energy that can be dissolved and transformed through the proper application of spiritual principles? The first step in transforming any problem into a miracle is to understand the true nature of reality itself. The world we perceive with our five senses is not the ultimate reality. Behind the veil of material appearances lies an ocean of consciousness, an infinite field of intelligent energy that responds to our thoughts, feelings, and deepest convictions. This cosmic consciousness, which some call God, others call the universe, and still others refer to as the Absolute, is not separate from us. We are not isolated drops of consciousness struggling alone in a hostile world. Rather, we are waves in this infinite ocean, temporarily individualized expressions of the one divine consciousness that permeates all existence. When you truly grasp this fundamental truth, your entire relationship with problems changes. You begin to see that the same power that created the galaxies, that causes seeds to sprout and flowers to bloom, that orchestrates the intricate dance of atoms and molecules in your body, is available to you right now, in this very moment, to transform your difficulty into a demonstration of divine grace. The problem is not that this power is absent or insufficient. The problem is that we have forgotten how to access it, how to align ourselves with it, how to become conscious channels through which it can flow. The transformation begins with a shift in perception. Instead of seeing your problem as an enemy to be fought or a burden to be endured, begin to see it as a teacher, a messenger, an opportunity for spiritual growth disguised in uncomfortable clothing. Every problem carries within it the seed of an equivalent or greater benefit. This is not just an optimistic platitude. It is a spiritual law as reliable as the law of gravity. But like gravity, this law operates whether we believe in it or not, whether we understand it or not. Our task is not to create this law but to align ourselves with it, to cooperate with it consciously and deliberately. Consider for a moment the nature of a seed. When you plant a seed in the ground, it must first break apart, must seemingly die and dissolve, before the miracle of new life can emerge. The seed does not resist this process, it surrenders to it completely. In the same way, when we surrender our problems to the divine intelligence within us, when we stop trying to solve them through the limited power of our ego mind alone, we create the space for a miracle to unfold. This surrender is not passive resignation or defeat. It is an active, conscious choice to trust in a power greater than our individual will, to acknowledge that there are forces at work in the universe far more intelligent and capable than our conscious mind can comprehend. The practice of transforming problems into miracles requires us to cultivate a specific quality of consciousness, a state of being that I call divine receptivity. This is not the same as passive waiting or wishful hoping. Divine receptivity is an alert, attentive, expectant state in which we hold our consciousness open to receive guidance, inspiration, and solutions from the infinite intelligence that dwells within us. It is like tuning a radio to the right frequency. The broadcast is always happening, but we must adjust our inner dial to receive it clearly. To cultivate this divine receptivity, we must first quiet the restless waves of the mind. The surface of a lake cannot reflect the moon clearly when it is disturbed by wind and waves. Similarly, our consciousness cannot receive divine guidance when it is agitated by worry, fear, anger, or endless mental chatter. This is why the practice of meditation is not a luxury or a hobby for spiritual seekers. It is an essential tool for anyone who wishes to transform problems into miracles. Through regular meditation, we learn to still the mind, to create an inner sanctuary of peace where the voice of divine wisdom can be heard. But meditation alone is not enough. We must also learn to maintain this quality of inner stillness and receptivity throughout our daily activities. This is the practice of living meditation, of carrying the peace and clarity we experience in formal meditation into every moment of our lives. When a problem arises, instead of immediately reacting with fear or frustration, we pause. We take a deep breath. We consciously connect with the divine presence within us. We ask, not from a place of desperation but from a place of trust, what is the highest solution to this situation? What miracle is waiting to unfold here? The answers may not come immediately in the form we expect. Divine guidance often arrives in subtle ways. A sudden insight, an unexpected phone call, a chance meeting, a book that falls open to exactly the right page, a dream that provides clarity, or simply a deep inner knowing that guides us to take a specific action. The key is to remain alert and attentive, to trust these intuitive promptings even when they don't make logical sense to our rational mind. Another crucial element in transforming problems into miracles is the practice of gratitude. This may seem counterintuitive when we are facing difficulties, but gratitude is one of the most powerful transformative forces in the universe. When we give thanks for our problems, we are not being masochistic or denying the reality of our pain. Rather, we are affirming our faith that this problem is already in the process of being transformed, that the miracle is already unfolding, even if we cannot yet see it with our physical eyes. Gratitude shifts our consciousness from lack to abundance, from fear to love, from contraction to expansion. And in this expanded state of consciousness, miracles become not only possible but inevitable. I have witnessed countless examples of this principle in action throughout my life and in the lives of those I have guided on the spiritual path. I have seen people facing financial ruin suddenly receive unexpected opportunities that not only solved their immediate crisis but launched them into greater prosperity than they had ever known. I have seen relationships that seemed irreparably broken heal and deepen into profound connections. I have seen health conditions that doctors declared hopeless reverse themselves completely. These are not random occurrences or lucky coincidences. They are demonstrations of a universal law. When we align our consciousness with the divine intelligence that governs all life, miracles become the natural order of things. But we must be clear about what we mean by miracles. A miracle is not necessarily a dramatic, supernatural intervention that violates the laws of nature. Rather, a miracle is a shift in perception that allows us to see and experience reality from a higher dimension of consciousness. From the limited perspective of the ego mind, certain outcomes seem impossible. But from the perspective of divine consciousness, all things are possible because this consciousness is not bound by the limitations of time, space, or material conditions. When we raise our consciousness to this higher level, we gain access to solutions and possibilities that were invisible to us before. The practice of visualization is another powerful tool in the transformation process. When we hold a clear, vivid mental image of the desired outcome, when we feel the emotions associated with the problem already being solved, we are not engaging in fantasy or escapism. We are actually impressing our desire upon the cosmic consciousness, creating a blueprint that the universe can follow in manifesting the miracle. But this visualization must be accompanied by faith, by an unshakable conviction that what we are visualizing is not only possible but is already real in the higher dimensions of consciousness, waiting only to materialize in the physical realm. This faith is not blind belief or stubborn insistence. It is a deep inner knowing that comes from direct experience of the divine presence within us. As we deepen our meditation practice, as we experience moments of communion with the infinite consciousness, we develop an unshakable certainty that we are not alone, that we are supported by a power that is infinitely wise, infinitely loving, and infinitely capable. This faith becomes the foundation upon which miracles are built. It is also essential to understand that the transformation of problems into miracles often requires us to take inspired action. Divine guidance is not meant to make us passive or dependent. Rather, it empowers us to act with wisdom, courage, and perfect timing. When we receive an intuitive prompting to take a specific action, we must follow through with faith and determination, even if the path ahead is not entirely clear. Often, the full miracle reveals itself only as we take the first steps in faith, trusting that each step will illuminate the next. The ego mind will often resist this process. It will tell us that we are being unrealistic, that we should be more practical, that miracles don't happen to ordinary people like us. This is the voice of limitation, the voice of separation from our divine nature. We must learn to recognize this voice and gently but firmly set it aside. We are not ordinary people. We are divine beings having a human experience, and we have access to extraordinary powers when we remember our true nature. One of the most profound truths I have discovered is that problems often persist not because they are too difficult to solve, but because we are too attached to solving them in a particular way. We have a specific idea of how the solution should look, what form it should take, who should be involved, and when it should happen. But the divine intelligence has access to infinite possibilities that our limited mind cannot conceive. When we release our attachment to specific outcomes and instead focus on the essence of what we desire, when we say to the universe, this or something better, we open the door for miracles that exceed our wildest expectations. The transformation of problems into miracles is ultimately a journey of self-discovery. As we navigate challenges and witness their transformation, we discover capacities within ourselves that we never knew existed. We discover reserves of strength, wisdom, creativity, and resilience that surprise and delight us. We realize that we are far more powerful than we ever imagined, not because of our personal abilities, but because we are channels through which infinite power can flow. This realization brings with it a profound sense of peace and security. When we know, not just intellectually but in the depths of our being, that we have access to divine intelligence and power, we can face any problem with equanimity. We no longer need to fear the future or regret the past. We can rest in the present moment, trusting that whatever arises, we have the inner resources to transform it into an opportunity for growth and demonstration of divine grace. The simple truth is this: problems are not obstacles to our happiness and success. They are the raw material from which miracles are made. Every challenge is an invitation to deepen our connection with the divine, to expand our consciousness, to demonstrate the power of spirit over matter. When we accept this invitation with an open heart and a willing spirit, we discover that the universe is not a hostile place where we must struggle and fight for survival. Rather, it is a friendly, supportive, infinitely abundant reality that is constantly conspiring to bring us experiences that serve our highest good. So the next time you face a problem, remember this. You are standing at the threshold of a miracle. The problem is not a sign that something has gone wrong. It is a sign that something wonderful is about to unfold. Your task is simply to align yourself with the divine intelligence within you, to trust in its wisdom and power, to remain open and receptive to its guidance, and to take inspired action when prompted. Do this, and you will witness transformations that will fill you with wonder and gratitude. You will become a living demonstration of the truth that with God, all things are possible, and that the transformation of problems into miracles is not only simple but is your divine birthright.